So I didn't notice when my camera quit recording. We'll see if it's having issues again. Anyhow, I'm just going to narrate this last stitching here because I don't know. I've sewn a lot, but I just have to remember well, things to do, like, but for this project I'm finding this gap that I left for this drawstring using my snippers there, and freehand stitching the first side around like this. And I think when I started this I said it's a good beginner project, which it absolutely is. And what I did just there was because I'm lazy and I didn't pin all the way around and iron this. By the time it got to the end there, it made a itty bitty gather, so I, with the needle down, lifted the foot and pushed that gather a little bit flat, so that little gather is less noticeable instead of being a big fold. But again, I'm making these quick and dirty. The other thing is this project is a project so that I get to buy cute fabric I like when I go to the craft shop, because if I only bought the cute fabric that I liked and didn't have a project like this to make it into something and give it away, then I would just have a mountain of cute fabric that I didn't know what to do with. And I don't have room to store all that, so go. There we go. So, for straight stitching, like, it does take practice, but I always remember my driver's ed teacher when we were learning to drive said, you know, when you're going through a turn, you got to look to where you want to go instead of where you are, because if you stare directly at the curb right outside the window, you will make a weird sharp turn, or you'll completely miss the turn or whatever. And like, that's the thing I realized is the key to making a straight stitch. So you line up your needle and everything and get started, but I'm actually watching like a margin over here and pulling the bag out so that when I'm stitching along and the end of my line and the tail comes up here, I can start steering toward it because if you wait until the tail gets here and you were a little bit out of line, then you have to make a big turn to get over and match to hit your stitches again. So, and then if you watched the other videos, I made a couple of bags that were this size and they barely fit on the machine here. And I did that because I had a very strange shape of fabric, piece of fabric out of the remnant bin, and if I cut the bags this size so that they barely fit on my machine, I could make like 4 out of this pattern, whereas if I'd cut them to the bigger size I'm making, I would have gotten like 1.5 or 1. So but that barely worked because this bag here is exactly the right size to fit over my machine. If it was any smaller, it wouldn't fit there, and then I'd have to be like trying to stitch like this with the bag on top, and I have done that before, and you can do that if you're real motivated, but you know, that's much harder to do because you have to like keep folding the bag open as you sew, whereas you know, when it goes on the bottom of the machine it just rotates easily. So I guess that's the little blurb for this week. And I've got to look at my next pile of fabric, or come back and put strings in these bags, because I think I've got 40 of them that I stitched up already. And if I don't stop and count, then I end up with mountains of bags with no strings, and then I do need to kind of get ahead of it, because I can only make them as fast as I can give them away at the different little events that I go to with them. So, alright, well, that's this week, and I don't know, I might find another sewing project before I put my machine away. Again, you know, like I have this table to do crafting on, so I either have to do my engines, or pull out the sewing machine, or pull out whatever else I'm going to do, and it has to fit on this table. So, having the sewing machine stuff out, I guess I should really think about how much I want to do with it before I put it all away.